Yes, so I wanted to make this video about my experience in sales and marketing because I also do the sales and marketing for King Clean. Everything King Clean I do. Here in Haiti, you got to have a strong mind. So I make the products, I do the buying, I do the bookkeeping, etc., everything, okay? So, but how did I get this experience and I'm living in Haiti, okay? Well, I already told you that I was raised in the USA. And I gave you in the last video I spoke about my history in the cleaning, okay? But now about the marketing. So I fell in love with computers ever since I first touched one. I remember in Benny Dover Jackson Middle School in New London, Connecticut, where I started getting good computer classes. I fell in love with computers. And ever since then, I've been learning about Facebook, social media and marketing and affiliate marketing and website designing and email marketing, SEO, search engine optimization, a lot of stuff, e-commerce, etc., a lot of stuff. But my experience in marketing actually came from working for a company that's called Movement Sales Incorporated. Okay, that's out of Memphis, Tennessee, owned by Mr. Robert Jackson. Okay, and Movement Sales Incorporated was a magazine company that took inner city youth, and we traveled from state to state. I joined at 18. I got to see it about 10 states in 9 months with that company. In the morning, we woke up. They gave us about an hour or two of formation for sales and marketing, where you have someone, a group of people in front of you, and you're practicing your speeches. And then after that, we actually went to the different neighborhoods where we were at the moment, and we went door to door, speaking to all types of people. This taught me how to connect with all types of people on all levels. But while working for Movement Sales, I had some experiences that I want to share with you that you may not believe that are true. The first experience is that I actually rang the doorbell of Bill Gates. Okay, that's a whole nother story. But yes, I was in front of Bill Gates's door in Washington. Okay, and it was me and another young brother from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, we get in front of the door and we're looking through this gate where you don't see a house. All you see is grass and water and trees. Okay, the house was underground. Okay, we rang the doorbell, but nobody came up. Nobody answered. Okay, while ringing the doorbell, and anticipating for someone to answer the door, 2 police cars pull up. Maserati police cars. They're like, "Hey, this is Mr. Bill Gates' property. You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here?" We're like, "Sir, we're magazine salesmen. Here's the company we work for. Here's our badges. We just heard this is where Mr. Bill Gates is. One of our agents actually sold him last year, had the chance to meet with him. And, we were just trying to get the chance." And he was like, "Well, no, you can't do that." And these officers were so racist that they didn't even put us in the cars to lead us out the neighborhood. They watched us walk. They made us walk while they're driving at us side by side. But that's one, okay? That's a huge energy. The second, and this is a huge one for me because it's like I lost a huge opportunity, and this opportunity came while working with Movement Sales Incorporated. I believe this was in Utah, where I actually met the founders, the creators of Netflix. When they had the first Netflix DVD, when they came from a meeting. And what's crazy is I had already knocked on their door during the day, but they were not there. At the end of the night, when I'm going to get the van, which is going to take us back to the hotel, they pull up at that exact same moment when I'm about to get in the van. And so I go and speak to them. And they tell me who they are. They're like, "Yeah, we're working on this great company called Netflix. Netflix is going to be huge. We're telling you, man, Netflix is gonna be huge. You know, this is our first DVD. We just came from a meeting and we're very excited because this meeting just certified that we're about to advance. They're like, hey, your English is good. You know, you have good marketing skills. If you come and work for us, not only will we pay you well, but because you'll be one of the first employees, you would even have an opportunity to have an ownership position in the company. I was not able to take the job because I was just passing by. You know, we were traveling. That's what we did with movement sales. You know, we stayed in the state for a month or two. Okay. So I didn't know anybody in Utah. I didn't have any information, anything solid, and I was young. I lost that opportunity. And I can't say I took them serious because it's like you have somebody that has a dream, that's working on their dream. But over 10 years later, you hear that Netflix is a multi-billion-dollar company, and you're like, man, I could have had a position of ownership in this, you know? So I just say this, that I've crossed with some big energies. What's the football player? Joe Namath. I went to the Joe Namath football camp. I sat down and I ate with Joe Namath and his family for multiple days throughout a week, okay? Rakim, the rapper, the major rapper. I actually went to school with Rakim's son in Stamford, Connecticut, where his daughter was our cheerleader. And I got to see Rakim twice in my life. Once, which is at a jamboree. At the jamboree, you know, he came to watch his son and his daughter. And I met him, I shook his hand, and I spoke to him like, yo, you're one of the greats. And the second time I seen him was while he was walking in the Stamford Mall. And I approached him like, hey, Rakim, you remember me? You know, and so that's a couple celebrity and major experiences that I really had. And there's more. I met Africa Bambaataa. In the last video, I gave you a story where I worked with Edward Hill at the Yearwood Center, where the directress was one of Bob Marley's son's ex-wives. Well, through her, she bought Africa Bambaataa, Curtis Blow, Crazy Legs, and several other old hip-hop artists. Where I met them, I shook their hands, you know. So I'm just saying this for the energy that's with me is not small. The force that's with me is not small. And that's why King Clean is something major for me, because I was raised in the USA, and as somebody that wasn't born in the USA, I had some experiences most of the people in the USA won't even have, you know? So now I'm like, man, I can take my experience in the USA, my last 10 years experience here in Haiti, and do something serious. Do something serious that can bring a better change in my life, you know, but also for the life of those around me, because the Haitian people have been suffering for a long time. I know my history. I'm not racist. I don't hate nobody. I don't care about none of that. I'm a people's person. Like I'm a sharp-minded person. I love people. I love life, you know. But this video it concludes certain histories of King Clean. They may sound like lies, but they're 100% true. And when I get back to the USA, I'll get all the proofs that I can make a huge movie from this. King Clean here. I'll see you next time, where I'm going to make a video on what's planned for the future, okay? And I'm going to start showing some products and stuff like that, okay? Enjoy your day. Please like the video and subscribe.